What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Beyond the Junkyard podcast. I am your host, Junkyard James, and with me, as always, is the man with the most sauce. It's Cody Marinera, my friend. How are you doing? 10 days out from AEW, Double or Nothing.
Yeah, we're a little over a week and a few days away from Double or Nothing. Not going to be hard to top Backlash, that's for sure. But the bar was set pretty low over the weekend for that. But yeah, we're rocking and rolling here on this lovely Thursday night. Hopefully, everybody's having a good Thursday night as well. And preparing for a night of heat stroke here, heat heat wave of the year this upcoming weekend into next week. I'm moving too, so pray for me. Maybe next weekend. We'll see. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing pretty good. It's a wonderful, warm Thursday, as you said, and it's only going to get warmer here in good old Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah, and we get to talk about, as you mentioned earlier, Backlash. We got some stuff to talk about what happened on that show. We got some things to talk about with AEW as well. But first, before we jump into any of that, we got to give thanks to our friends over at W Energy, your taste buds' favorite energy drink. Buy your favorite flavor. They got the blue raspberry, the sour gummy bear. They got s'mores flavor. They got tiger's blood, which is my favorite flavor. And just a bunch of other different, really solid flavors. Jitterless energy. You scoop it into some water. There's no harmful chemicals, and you're not going to get that crash that the other energy drinks provide. And we've made it easy for you guys to save a little bit of money on your Dubby purchase. Scan that QR code that was just popped up in the top left-hand corner of the screen. And at checkout, use code Beyond the Yard and save 10% on your order. Thank you, Dubby Energy, for supporting this podcast. And let's get into the action tonight. I also want to mention as well, link for this will be added to the description at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. But I found out over the weekend that you can build mobile apps using artificial intelligence nowadays. Had no idea that it was that easy to build a mobile app. And I thought, hey, maybe what happens if I were to build a mobile app that was pro wrestling themed, and so I'm in the process of going through creating a mobile game called Square Circle Trivia. The link, the beta test link will be below. There are multiple different options that you can choose trivia questions for. You can have the daily trivia, like Wordle type quiz of the day, and other fun mini games as well added to the the game. I'm working on. I sent it to Cody a couple days ago to see if it worked, and what we found was it's artificial intelligence. So there's still some wrong answers to questions that I'm trying to get fixed, but It's a beta version. The link, I'll add it to the description here after this video. So update it after the video, and you can join and play that game as well. And so let's jump in to today's first topic. Just about an hour ago, NFL teams posted their official 2026-2027 NFL schedule, dates and times and all of that. And I thought, first glance, initial reaction, you're a Washington Commanders fan, as we can tell from that beautiful hat you got on your head. What is your initial reaction to the Washington Commanders schedule?
Going 16-1. That's how I see it. No, I'll be 100% honest with you. I haven't seen our schedule. I was too busy building a desk for a house we're moving into, and
that's fair.
It took up all my time between then getting home and eating. That looks damn good, by the way. Very good craftsmanship on the desk, and kudos to the design team for that, but also for the engineer who put that together. That would be yours truly here.
We got a handyman
why
in the
I
house.
built it so damn good was because I had pasta and I had sauce mixed with the pasta tonight. It was so great. I don't know what you just said. My internet's all sorts of wacky right now. It's going to be one of those nights. But yeah, matter of fact, let me refresh. Maybe that'll kind of help work out the kinks, and I'll pull up our schedule because I have no idea what we did. So you can talk about the Bills in your schedule while I kind of refresh, reload here, and pull up ours, and we'll go from there.
All right, that sounds good. Well, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills while I have the moment. And I'll do my plan here is to actually Saturday sit through and actually work through the Bills schedule, and we'll have a Saturday episode for the first time in quite a while. My first initial reaction though of the Buffalo Bills schedule, we're going to play 3 games this year on holidays. We got a Thanksgiving game against the Kansas City Chiefs, which, by the way, I don't know how much money NBC had to throw to get Buffalo versus Kansas City, because that's usually a CBS staple for the past, 6 years now. It's going to be weird seeing someone not named Tony Romo call that game. We also play Christmas Day against the Denver Broncos. And the third holiday that the Buffalo Bills are going to play this year is Valentine's Day in Los Angeles, California at Super Bowl 59 or whatever the heck number it is this year. I like our schedule. All of our West Coast trips are early in the season, and then not a whole lot of travel down the road. I think the Bills can win, I hope 13 games again this year with Joe Brady at the helm. But it's Super Bowl or bust. That's my belief for Buffalo, and I think we can do it. Now that you're back, I see your face. Are you okay with the Washington Commander schedule?
What is this shit? Open up back-to-back weeks on the road against division rivals, Philadelphia then Dallas. And then our first home game is against the Seahawks. And then the very next week, we got to go to London. Don't worry. We don't get a bye week. We don't get a Monday Night Football game. We got to come straight home and play another Sunday game against the Giants. We played 3 division games in the first 5 weeks. Who the hell booked that shit?
They hating y'all over there. And
oh my God. And then we got to go at San Francisco Monday night. Because, of course, we're going to have Brandon Ayuk by then, and it's going to be a whole thing. And then we get a bye week of week 7, so that means we're going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to play 11 straight games after that. Yep, kill us now. We got a Thursday night game at New York, a Monday night game against the Bengals, of course. And then we end the season at home against Dallas. We play in the first 10 weeks, not counting the bye, 5 division games. We only have 1 division game in between the weeks 11 through 18, and it's the last game against Dallas. We play a bulk of our division games by week 10. That's crazy to me.
Yeah,
I'm not mad about it.
The Bills are the complete opposite. The first 9 weeks of the year, we got 1 division game in the first half of the season, and then we are backloaded with division games. We start on the road against Houston, and then we have 3 straight home games after that. Then 2 road games against LA, the Rams, and then Vegas, and then a week 7 bye. So we'll share the bye week with Washington. Come off the bye and play Baltimore. So that's a good thing. And then, I like our schedule. I think it's a good schedule. We got like 7 prime.
Schedule, but is what it is.
The Bills got about 7 primetime games this year, and
we only got 3. I guess that's what happens when you go 5-12.
Right. Well, like I said, Saturday, I think I'll probably do a breakdown of the Bills schedule and more in depth, my thoughts on each of these games. Stay tuned for that on Saturday. But I thought it would just be something to get our initial reaction to the NFL season taking shape. And football's back almost. Let's talk about something else that's back, and that's John Cena. All right. Saturday night at Backlash, John Cena announced, and we talked about this a little bit last week, he was going to have this big announcement, this mind-blowing, industry-shaking announcement, and what we thought would be something like WrestleMania being announced for not this coming year, but the year after in London or Nashville or wherever it may have been. Or maybe it would have been something about Club WWE. No, as terrible as Club WWE announcement would have been, I think what was actually announced was much worse than what we could have ever imagined. John Cena comes out here and introduces the John Cena Classic. And that's about all he said, except here's what he said. It's going to be WWE superstars fighting NXT superstars, with the fans being able to vote for who wins the championship. And here's the caveat. There's going to be matches in this tournament or whatever it is. I don't know if it's a tournament. I don't know if it's just there wasn't a whole lot of and even still to this day, there's not a whole lot of understanding of when it's going to take place or what it actually is. But here's one big caveat. You can lose all of your matches in the John Cena Classic and still win the John Cena Classic. What absolute buffoonery that is. Your thoughts on the John Cena Classic?
I have tried in the last 5 days to fully get a grasp on this, thinking that maybe some point this week we would have more information as it pertains to maybe a date. Is it going to be a standalone event? Is it going to coincide with the pay-per-view? Is it going to have tournament are there going to be tournament matches leading up to the event? Is there going to be a fan vote leading up to the event? There's so much we don't know. But what we do know is, like you said, wins and losses don't matter. You can lose every single match in this classic tournament, whatever you want to call it. But if the fan vote says, hey, we like you, you move on. So wins and losses don't matter at all. It's basically a popularity contest to begin with. Um, the winner of this thing gets awarded a championship. It's going to be kind of like the crown jewel heavyweight champion, where it doesn't matter. There's really no point to this at all, unless the winner of this tournament gets a world title shot at the Royal Rumble or something, or Survivor Series. Whenever this happens, let's presume that this event happens in December to kind of correlate with the 1 year and the ongoing anniversary of Cena's last match, which was December 13th, I believe, December 20th, something like that. So let's say it happens in December. Let's say that the winner of this tournament gets a world title shot at the Royal Rumble. Okay, cool, I guess. But, like, there's so many unknowns. Plus, this is Raw, SmackDown, and NXT people on this event, if you want to call it that. Listen, I will be the first to admit I don't watch NXT. I don't follow up with NXT. Every now and then I do see glimpses of it. But from what I can tell in some fan chats on Twitter, on posts on Twitter, that's the main place I'm on is Twitter. The NXT roster has been absolutely gutted over the last year or so. All of the bigger stars, Braun Breaker, Trick Williams, Sol Ruka, Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, Obafemi, they're all on the main roster now. Javon Evans, they're all on the main roster. So let's say it does happen in December. That would be great for the NXT side of things because it gives them practically 6 months to now come up with stars of their own to hopefully build that roster back up, which is good. And that way it can kind of get Shawn Michaels the task to have these guys and gals that can compete with the current star on SmackDown, and hopefully have some support and fans that maybe may make it. I don't know. But let's just say by the time December comes, and again, this is all speculation, I'm just off the top of the cuff here. Let's say December happens. We don't get a new Obafemi. We don't get a new Trick Williams. We don't get a new Sol Ruka, Stephanie Vaquer, Julia. We don't get bigger name talent, believable talent in NXT. You know how bad that would look from an overall, and we don't know anything about this. I don't know if this is going to air on ESPN. I don't know if that's going to be a Netflix type of special, if it's going to be a Peacock only thing, if it's going to be on anywhere. Well, it will be, but we just don't know where. So there's a lot of unknowns, and there's a lot of things that if you don't have at least some of the information,
right?
Why even announce this?
Yeah.
For ratings and to have Cena be on the card to draw more ticket sales and draw more eyes to the show. But literally, you left me with a million questions, some that you kind of want, but some that are just like, what is this about?
Right.
Why is this happening now? When is this taking place? Where's it going to be at? So many kind of just logistical questions that just give me something.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. To me, it's not great execution on the Fed's part, and I don't understand the concept of the tournament. I really don't. John Cena's probably going to shake the hands of the winners, hold up a belt. That's cool.
Right.
Get a little bit of a John Cena rub, I guess. I don't know what else there is to have with this tournament. Yeah, really, really weird.
Yeah, my biggest thing with this is kind of what you said. Why announce this if it's an unfinished product? This was, to me, this is. I just wonder if this was a pivot from what they actually wanted to announce. Because my feeling is, I think they just wanted to push Club WWE, and I think they saw the negative reaction to that being a possibility on social media over the weekend, and they just made a quick pivot and they threw something at the wall without really having everything figured out. Like, I find it really hard to believe that this was something that they had planned for going on. Like, John Cena has been promoting this announcement for multiple weeks now. And so it's not like it's something that he was just like, oh, I'm just showing up randomly. So it feels like a pivot move. Um, they don't have a date. They don't have a venue. They don't have a a streaming service to agree to show the product yet. Though it sounds like Netflix is interested in showing whatever this may be. They don't. I don't even think they have designs for the title belt. Um, I think it's poorly executed. But even from what we do know, it's infuriating. Like you said, the matches don't mean anything. And I just sit here and I just like wonder, like, is this TKO's intended purpose to do everything they can to strip the possibility of kayfabe ever returning back to normal? Like, we already know it's scripted wrestling, but there still should be some sort of understanding that even though it's scripted, the matches mean something. And now you can have a match and still lose and still advance or whatever may happen based off popularity. It's like they're trying to create a wrestling form of American Idol. Um, and plus, they've done this before in WWE's history with things like Cyber Sunday and Taboo Tuesday, where they have the fans vote to do stipulations and things. And we already know that those, even back then, that those were somewhat predetermined outcomes to the fan vote. I feel like this is just TKO trying to be like, see, we're allowing the fans to voice their what they want, and this is the prize, is this meaningless trophy that may happen once a year. And we'll talk about the Owen Hart Tournament here in a moment. And while the Owen Hart Tournament, like the winners of the tournaments, may not be the most memorable thing in the world, especially in the case of like Ricky Starks, like nothing came out of it for Ricky just because he's that terrible of a wrestler. But um I at least there's a design and a purpose and a reason to really care about who wins. Like, you win the Owen Hart Tournament, you get an opportunity to fight at All In for the heavyweight champion, your division's top championship. And so, like, that's something else that we don't even know. Is the John Cena Classic only for male superstars? Or are they going to have a men's and a women's version of it? They haven't given us enough information. And I've seen clips of NXT. And as you said, they don't have much of a roster. They don't have a backup plan. A lot of these, and I've been on this boat for years now, a lot of these NIL college athletes that they've tried to become pro wrestlers haven't really worked out. That's why they're going back to picking up wrestlers from Japan, like Will Cruz, I think it was his name. They changed his name up for NXT. I can't remember what they changed it to. And some of these women that they've recently debuted, I don't get it. I don't get the purpose. I don't get the reason for this. It, this isn't this isn't groundbreaking. You know, like people like to complain that Tony Khan overplays his announcements when he says he has a big announcement. This is, I guess, the WWE version of that. This was just, I don't understand, one, the purpose or the scope. They really need to give us some information about it to make me really even care about it. It kind of feels like one of those things, like you said, they need John Cena to sell tickets to their shows, which yeah. Speaking of tickets to the show, I saw the latest report for All In London, and they need to start. They need to start picking up on them ticket sales. We're 3 months away, we got 13,000 seats available. So come on, London, buy them seats. But that wasn't the only terrible, in my opinion, terrible thing that happened at Backlash over the weekend. What maybe equally or maybe even more mind-boggling to me was Danhausen's opponent, not opponent, tag team partner to fight The Miz and Kit Wilson. Which, by the way, I think Kit Wilson can be a really good heel. I hate that he's stuck in this comedy gimmick. He has so much more potential than what he's stuck with currently. Danhausen brings out a clone machine, which I think I mentioned on the show last week that he tried to clone himself on Monday Night Raw, the Monday prior. He brings out the clone machine, and Mini Danhausen comes out. And I guess Danhausen thought it would have been a full-size Danhausen clone. And he says verbally on the air, "Oh shit." And well, Mini Danhausen and Danhausen fights Kit Wilson and beats Kit Wilson in The Miz. I thought it was very cringy. The whole thing. They throw Mini Danhausen back into the clone machine at one point in the match, and 10 other Mini Danhausens come out. Except, if you go back to WrestleMania, they didn't need a clone machine to have the 87 Danhausens that was there at WrestleMania. So what's the purpose of the clone machine if they were already there? There's no continuity to the story here. Long story short, because I could rant about this for the rest of the show, to be honest, probably. If you go to these WWE like fan pages, like they eat this up. Like, is Danhausen really that over with the simpleton crowd? Like, is that how easy it is to entertain the crowd? You just gotta throw shit in their face and they'll just clap like brain dead monkeys. Like, what's so appealing to Danhausen? Your thoughts?
He provides comedy. That's it. He is this generation's updated version of R-Truth, of Eugene, of the Spirit Squad, of Zack Ryder, Stardust. I mean, this is this generation's version of that, the 2026 and beyond version of those characters. Dorothy the Clown, the Goon. I mean, he just provides a comedic relief to the crowd, a pick me upper, if you will. Um, and in WWE, they always have characters like this, even in during the Attitude Era. You know, they had when Mick Foley and Mankind was kind of a comedy character a little bit. Um, DX, obviously, sophomore pranks and degenerates and stuff like that. Um, but, you know, when you cater to more of the young adults, teenagers, and kind of kids, this is what you get. Um, Now, that's not to say that comedy should not be in wrestling. I prefer my wrestling to have a little bit of everything. Give me some entertainment, give me great matches, give me compelling storylines, give me strong characters, and every now and then, yeah, I'm down with a comedy gimmick. Conglomeration in AEW is certainly that. Orange Cassidy is certainly that, and I'm fine with that. That's totally cool with me. Um, but I appreciate Orange Cassidy's comedic relief, pick me upper versus Danhausen. Danhausen is really like a childish type of character, and I already knew, and it just took a little while, but I already knew that he would be perfect in the Fed system. He is a perfect fit because of the fact that he's a smaller guy. He has face paint. He can be funny. He's a comedy character. Gonna sell the masks, sell the T-shirts, sell the action figures, sell the capes probably. Um, yeah, he fits perfectly for the mold of what works from a marketing standpoint in WWE. And yeah, I don't enjoy his stuff because I I just don't like it. It's not my cup of tea. Um, but in a very roundabout way, yeah. I mean, the whole booking of that was ridiculous. But because when you have your audience catered to younger kids, teenagers, and somewhat young adults, their attention span, A, is not good. B, their memory is certainly not good. In one ear, out the other ear, they probably couldn't tell you all that happened at WrestleMania. So to them, it's like, oh, we totally forgot already that happened. So when you do this whole gobbly-gookity thingy with the mini Danhausens, and they just appear from this curse thing, they think it's different. They think it's new. We haven't seen this. But for the more advanced fans, those who prefer not to watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, we already knew this. We've already seen this. Our memory is much more advanced and deeper, and we remember a lot more. That's why AEW, to me, is advanced elite wrestling, not all elite wrestling, because you have to think with these storylines sometimes. You have to go in your memory bank and remember things from not just a week or two or a month ago, sometimes months ago, maybe even years ago, maybe even decades ago when it came to like the Nick Gage and Chris Jericho storyline, when they brought out Juventud Guerrero from his time in WCW feuding with Jericho. It makes you think. It makes you go, oh, damn, yeah, I did forget about that. Oh, that's cool. It brings it together. It's a full circle type of thing. But yeah, the idea was stupid, especially if you remember what happened at WrestleMania. It's like he didn't need those guys to just show up. Why did all of a sudden he need that now? Yeah, it's just a whole bunch of silly comedy that I don't enjoy, and just it is what it is.
Yeah, and it's a little. I agree with you, and I was actually going to bring up Orange Cassidy while you were speaking. His version of comedy is like it's comedic in a way that you can still tell a story through the in-ring work. To me, it feels like Danhausen his comedy is more cinematic comedy and not like a physical comedy. Danhausen, the reason he has to be a comedy character is because he's not that great in the ring. And that's fine. Some people like that style of wrestling. And he does fit the WWE system a lot better than when he was in AEW. It's just I don't understand why he's like the number one merch seller, and I guess the kids like it, but like I've seen adults who think Danhausen is the greatest thing in the world. Like I just maybe I'm not gonna to judge what your favorite wrestler is, but I mean you have to be very shallow to of a thinker to think that Danhausen is entertaining pro wrestling, in my opinion. You can have comedy. Like MJF and Chris Jericho did comedic wrestling in a fun way, but also told a story that led to a really good match. These Danhausen matches aren't good matches. And to me, and we'll get to this with the Owen Hart tournament, why I think this tournament is one of AEW's best creations here later in the show. Everything's about the match. You like the conglomeration in Roddy Strong was comedy, and it led to really good matches, and you can laugh along the way, but the payoff has to come in the ring. And there's no payoff with Danhausen. He's just a terrible in-ring wrestler. So you can make me laugh for weeks on end, but if you can't perform in the grand finale, is it really the payoff that we come to expect? Even comedic movies have to tell a story. Every Adam Sandler movie ever created will make you laugh until you pee yourself. But ultimately, there's a story being told, and it's not just all cheesy jokes. You have to tell a story. And Danhausen isn't telling a story. In my opinion. So sound off in the comments. Let us know. What do you think? Is Danhausen really over? Or is this just the flavor of the quarter, I guess? Because it's been longer than a month since he's been going around. All right. Well, that's all WWE type things that I wanted to talk about. Though, briefly, I don't know if you saw Ray Phoenix's Twitter post the other day. I think he wants back in AEW. I think he's realizing he made a mistake leaving and cursing Tony Khan out on social media because he's been benched by Paul Levesque. The grass ain't always greener, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, that would be interesting. I don't think his brother is joining him anytime soon. He's having much success right now as Intercontinental Champion, so I don't think he would be leaving anytime soon. And I'm sure Penta does great with the merchandise sales as well. And I would actually say he's been used pretty well so far for his time in WWE, besides the first few months. But he's been booked pretty well, pretty strongly. So yeah, I think he would be staying there for a while. Phoenix coming back to AEW would be welcomed. I don't know if he would have the same type of sustained success like his brother is doing right now in WWE. He could be an international champion. He could be a continental champion, possibly a TNT champion. I don't know, but yeah, he'd be in a very crowded room with a lot of talented guys, and Phoenix is very talented himself. But yeah, he'd be in a pretty crowded room and would really need to find a way to get a little more over with the fans and possibly work his way up to winning some sort of main singles title in AEW. Should he come back?
Yeah, it's crazy. WWE owns 51% of a Mexican company that he has a lot of history in, and they don't even use him there. So, but yeah, let's transition, unless you had anything else WWE to talk about, into our AEW segment. Let's talk about the Owen Hart tournaments. Before I pull the tournament brackets up, we had a conversation off air within our group chat a little bit today about the Owen Hart tournament. And the question is this tournament basically a, so like trying to compare and contrast between the Owen Hart tournament and like the King of the Ring? Now, I think the Owen Hart tournament is one of AEW's greatest creations that to date. One, you memorialize Owen Hart, which was one of the best up and coming talents that WWF at the time had, and you get to memorialize the tragedy of his passing in the ring with really good wrestling. And the argument against the Owen Hart tournament is a lot of the times the storylines aren't there. It's just a bunch of really good matches. Exactly. It's just a bunch of really good matches. That's exactly what Tony Khan wanted with this tournament, in my opinion, to memorialize Owen Hart by putting on several weeks worth of really intriguing matches, with the goal being we're going to set up, typically, as we've seen throughout the last couple years, our next big babyface. Last year was Hangman Page. I think the year before it was Danielson, Ricky Starks, and Adam Cole. I think they all were in that babyface run when they won this tournament. And I think as we see on the men's side of the bracket, you'll see that they're going to set it up the same way again this year. Now, I will say, because we're kind of hardcore fans, I think we can kind of already see with the bracket the end of the bracket. But what's fun about it, though, is yeah, we may see where the bracket is and we can make our predictions on the bracket, but it's fun to actually watch the matches take place. And then, especially like this year on the women's side, again, I'll show these brackets here in a minute. We're going to see women that haven't been on AEW in quite some time. Women like Athena, who we haven't seen since the Owen Hart tournament, I believe, last year. Well, no, we saw her at All In last year, but that was the last time we saw Athena. And now she's going to be back on AEW television. We're going to see like Sari. We're going to see Persephone. The best of the best of the international talent that AEW has will be on display, and women that typically are not part of the major storylines in AEW's women's division get time to have meaningful matches. So it's great for me because I'm the kind of guy when it comes to wrestling, I don't need to have the deepest of stories. Now, I do need some background, but you don't need to give me a novel as to why somebody's wrestling. And that's why I love tournament wrestling, because the story is interwoven within the action in the ring. And I think we'll see that with these tournaments. Before I show these brackets, anything you want to add about our off the air conversation that we had?
I understand the aspect of where our good friend Papa J was coming from. I don't think you can really truly compare the two. For one, the King of the Ring has been around for 30-something years, and the Owen Hart Tournament's only been around for 3 years, 4 years tops.
Yep.
It doesn't have that kind of same. It doesn't have the same kind of lineage. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you that the Owen Hart Tournament was mostly featured around celebrating and memorializing a guy who was better known for his in-ring talent and ability. Yes, Owen Hart was a jokester, made people laugh, came up with some really interesting, characters and gimmicks. But for the most part, he was known for his in-ring ability. whether it's in the WWF, whether it was a very short time in WCW or in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Um, and that's where I think the beginning stages of that tournament was mostly featured around great matches, matches that really symbolize the excellence of Owen Hart, and I think they did a good job of doing that. And then later, Tony Khan probably kind of realized, maybe we can do a little bit better job with interweaving, if that's even a word, storyline with the tournament style and the excellent matches. And the last couple of years, they've done that with Bryan Danielson, last year Hangman Page, more than likely this year as well. So, yeah, I don't really think there's much more else you can really say. But heck, I mean, look at it this way. Even though Bret Hart was in WCW when Owen passed away in May of 1999, a couple months later, they had an Owen Hart memorial match, basically, on Nitro. And it was between Bret Hart and Chris Benoit. You would be hard-pressed to find a better match on WCW television than that one. I really echo anybody to go find it on YouTube. I want to say it was sometime maybe in June, July, maybe even August or something. I'm not really sure. It was in 1999, a couple months after Owen passed away. Bret Hart and Chris Benoit. Now, they later had another match in the finals of a WCW World Title Tournament at Mayhem in November. It was for the world title. That was a really good match too. But their match on Nitro, where Harley Race actually was the one who did the introductions for both guys, it was a really cool moment. But they had like a 20-plus minute match on Nitro, and it was just a really, really great match. But that was a great way to symbolize and memorialize Owen Hart by telling a great story in the ring by great wrestling. And that's what that tournament is all about. And I would argue, like I said, over the last couple of years, they've been able to make storylines around it that, maybe give the tournament a little more prestige in a way, kind of. But at least it's like, okay, well, now the tournament winner gets something from this. Now we have something to run off of. So I think it's not fair to judge to compare both. They're because, like you said, I think they're both totally different ideas and aspects, but there's some similarities. Both of them now definitely have storylines built either in them or around them and lead to something down the road. Yeah.
All right, so let's show the brackets. We'll start first with the women's tournament. What I love is there's already some first round matches that have storylines built around them. Most importantly, Alex Windsor versus Willow Nightingale, which we'll get at Double or Nothing. Other first round matches: Persephone versus Hazuki, Mina Shirakawa versus Athena, and Sari versus Sky Blue. Like I said, there are a lot of wrestlers that, if you're not a ball knower of women's pro wrestling, you probably might not know who most of these women are. I'm very intrigued with this bracket because I have no idea how to predict this bracket. I'll go to you. Who comes out winning the Owen Hart tournament for the women?
I'll be 100% honest with you. I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say after All in London, you're going to get to the hometown people winning belts. So I think Alex Windsor wins this tournament. I think Alex Windsor wins this tournament, goes on to All In, and faces Tekla for the world title and wins it in London.
Wow.
That is that is my bold prediction right there. Now I think it'd be cool if Athena won this because I think she needed to drop that ROH women's title a year and a half ago. But there's just nobody else in ROH that's really worthy at the moment. Maybe there is. I haven't really watched it so much, and Super Card of Honor is tomorrow night. Maybe I'll watch it. I do have that in my AEW thing, so maybe I can watch it via the NordVPN thing. We'll see. But I think Athena needs to be in a full-timer on the AEW roster, and she'd be a great TBS champion. She'd be a great women's champion. Mina Shirakawa definitely can win this tournament too. Her and Tekla had some feuding in the past. Persephone could have a really good shot at this. Sari could have a really good shot at this. Willow Nightingale, obviously, is maybe a favorite because she's won this tournament before. But yeah, I'm going Alex Windsor to win this tournament and face Tekla at All In and win the world title.
Not only if I'm going to assume we're both on the same page with the men, and we'll get there in a minute. But if your prediction gets right, it'll be the second time the Owen Hart Tournament were won by a man and a woman that were in a relationship in that time. The first being Adam Cole and Britt Baker. And that didn't end up so well. Will, protect yourself. No, I'm kidding. Like I said, a lot of these women, I think, can really perform. Now, here's Tony Khan said on the Supercard of Honor media call today, Persephone's out with some sort of injury. Sari's out with some sort of injury. And so their first round matchups aren't going to happen right away. They're going to be a little bit later down the line. So we won't see a whole lot on the women's side of the tournament, I don't think, for several weeks. Obviously, we get the first round matchup between Windsor and Nightingale a week from Sunday at Double or Nothing. I'm interested in this tournament. I'm going on the limb to say we're getting I think Athena wins it this year. I just, it feels like this is the moment. I have a feeling she might drop the belt tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure if she will or not, but
it would be the best way to do it.
Yep.
You got six women in there or five?
6, I believe.
Perfect opportunity to not have her get pinned or submitted. I think I don't know the match rules and I need to refresh that, but if it's first pinfall or submission,
right,
perfect opportunity right there. Protects her, keeps her strong. She doesn't lose the belt by losing it firsthand.
Right. And so I think she may drop the belt tomorrow and allows her to come through here and win the Owen Hart and either fight Tekla or whoever's the champion at London, and we'll see how it goes from there. I'm a pick Athena from the women's side, just off of first take here. Now the men, I think this might be the easiest tournament to predict in AEW history. We get 2 first-round matchups at Double or Nothing this a week from Sunday. We get Samoa Joe and Will Ospreay. And we get Swerve Strickland versus Bandito. Other first-round matchups, Jungle Jack Perry versus Mark Davis. That'll be the 3rd time they wrestle in the last couple weeks. So they have some good chemistry. I'm sure the third match will be just as good as the previous 2. Then we get Brody King versus Claudio Castagnoli. You've been saying this since Will Ospreay went out with an injury.
September 2025.
And it seems like it's coming to fruition. This is Will Ospreay's tournament to win, is it not?
Yeah. I mean, now listen, I picked Alex Windsor and watch her lose in the first round next Sunday, which would be funny and not funny at the same time. Yeah. Now, obviously, you look at this, and the first thing I thought of is, wow, no Moxley's in this. That's pretty interesting.
Yep.
He is the Continental Champion, so I guess that makes a little bit of sense. But at the same time, Willow Nightingale's the TBS champion. She's in the women's tournament, so why no Okada? Why no Takeshita? Why no, you know, I'm drawing other blanks here, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, where's Kevin Knight? Where's Speedball?
Yeah, well, screw Speedball, but yeah, Kevin Knight. Yeah, I mean, but the biggest one is, wow, no Moxley in this. Okay, so now, while my prediction got a little kink in the chain a little bit, we're going to be back on the rails after Double or Nothing when not only will Ospreay beat Samoa Joe, but when MJF wins the world title back, and we'll be setting up for MJF versus Ospreay, like my prediction was in September 2025. We need to find that video, we need to find that clip, and we need to make sure we post that and date it so we know for sure that I called this almost a year ago. Now, while yes, I think Ospreay will win this tournament, here's how I kind of see this going a little bit, just kind of thinking ahead a little bit. So Ospreay wins this tournament at Forbidden Door in June. I know that leaves us about 2 months before All In London. There's the biggest rumor that has not yet been confirmed, I don't believe, that there's potentially an AEW pay-per-view happening in July in between Forbidden Door and All In London called Redemption, Royal Redemption, or something like that. If that's the case, then I think we can see Jon Moxley versus Will Ospreay. And that is like, God, I really don't want it to be for the Continental title. It just needs to be, all right, Will, you beat Claudio, you won the Owen Hart Tournament. Yeah, theoretically, you're supposed to fight for the world title at All In. Can you beat me? I'm your final test. I'm your final challenge. I want to make sure you're ready for MJF, Darby, whoever the world champion is. I want to make sure that you are ready for that. And kind of comes full circle with that whole storyline that they're doing with the Death Riders and Ospreay. And I could see that happening. And that would be, I don't know if it'd be the main event of that pay-per-view, but it would be a featured bout to see if Ospreay can dethrone Moxley, come full circle, and gain the respect of Moxley, and allow Moxley to basically say, yeah, you're ready. You're ready to fight for the world title and be a world champion.
Now, I could see that happening. I was thinking before they announced these brackets and the finals would be at Forbidden Door that we would have the Death Riders versus United Empire for the never 6-man titles that Will Ospreay and United Empire held. I wonder if at Redemption, maybe that's what it is. You don't get a singles match with Jon Moxley and Ospreay. You get that trios match between Death Riders versus United Empire. That could be a way. That way, and that's almost what Moxley did with Darby Allin when Moxley stole Darby's title opportunity when he first began the Death Riders. So I could see that they could run that with Ospreay as well. I think the easiest setup here is Claudio versus Ospreay. Does Ospreay? What alliances does Will Ospreay have? And I think that'll be an interesting test. Will Ospreay, he has a very difficult task ahead of him. I mean, he could fight Samoa Joe, then Mark Davis, then Claudio Castagnoli in 3 back-to-back rounds, or Swerve Strickland. I think that Bandito Swerve match, though, is intriguing. Because Bandito, tomorrow night, puts the ROH Men's World title on the line against Blake Christian. Does Swerve show up on ROH tomorrow night? And what happens with Bandito there? I think that there's more to be noticed there. We get that match at Double or Nothing. So I'm gonna tell you, there are stories interwoven already in this tournament.
Now, if Tony wants to go a little bit different route and throw us maybe a little bit of a curveball and have Claudio versus Osprey, and somehow the Death Riders side with Claudio and have them beat Osprey, and Osprey's like, "Listen, that's bullshit. You guys couldn't beat me 1-on-1. Let me face Claudio, and if I beat him, Moxley at Redemption, I'm fighting you, and if I beat you, I get the world title shot." That could be a little bit of a thrown curveball. I wouldn't love that, but it could happen. Or if Tony wants to go with more of a higher stakes, higher profile, maybe a better ticket selling match, maybe one that would be just a great match in general, run back Osprey versus Strickland from 2024.
Yeah.
They fought for the world title at Forbidden Door in 2024. Have them fight again.
See, I think there's you got to go back to All In last year, because Swerve and Osprey were teaming to get the Death Riders off of. I'm sorry, Swerve and was it Swerve and Osprey were getting somebody? I can't remember exactly how it worked that went out, but the Death Riders took both of them out that night. So I just wonder, can we throw it back? Will versus Strickland. That would be the best match, in my opinion, of any combination, Swerve versus Osprey. I just think storyline wise, just from a bird's eye view, it just makes the most sense right now that it would be Claudio versus Osprey.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
But look, here's the thing: AEW, like you said, you gotta go a little bit deeper in your ball knowledge to understand some of the stories that get thrown in there. If you're watching this for the first time and this is your first in Osprey versus Osprey in the Owen Hart tournaments, your first exposure to AEW, you might not get the picture. You're going to have to do a little bit of research. And so this may not be the tournament for you if that's, if you're not feeling a little bit, to do a little bit of research there. But now I think this is going to be an excellent Owen Hart tournament. I'm ready to see what happens, and at least they finally gave us the brackets, because we were wondering if they were even going to do it this year. So, all right, let's move on to last Saturday. AEW was at was it SoFi Arena in Palm Beach, Florida? I think that's what it's called. Fairway to Hell. I thought that 1 hour special was absolutely amazing. I mean, the optics were great. Pac and Darby Allin fighting in the bunkers and the sand traps and on the golf course was absolutely just really entertaining television. But it brought up a conversation amongst wrestling fans of, like, AEW is always known for experimenting with new type of venues. What other venues could we see, or do you want to see AEW? What type of venues would you like to see AEW experiment with or go to in the future?
Man, there are so many places you can pick. I've seen a bunch of people post on X about some of these soccer pitches that aren't like, your Wembley stadiums, 90,000 seats, but they're more like 10, 15,000, if that. But some of them are right along the riverbank. Some of them are right along downtown areas, scenic views. I, for one, would think it'd be really cool, and somebody brought it up, would be if AEW did a NASCAR track.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that would totally work. A wrestling show, to my knowledge, has not happened inside of a NASCAR track. So that would be something. You would probably have to do it at a short track like a Bristol Motor Speedway, Martinsville Speedway. call it the Slam at the Speedway or Speedway Slam or uh, I don't know, but that would be cool. Um, I, as a sucker fan of WCW, I would love to see a college tour of some sorts of different college arenas, um, college football fields, or um, bars, clubs like Club La Vila in Panama City Beach. That was something that WCW did their spring breakouts for a couple of years, and then they switched it to somewhere in Texas for 2000, and then they came back to Panama City Beach for the last Nitro in 2001. So I would love to see that. I've always loved that aspect of like having the stage set up, and you have to walk down the ramp, and the ramp is basically over the pool, and then obviously you get the easy cheap pops or spots where people get thrown in the pools. Those are always fun. Hell, I love the cruise, the Jericho cruise. When they did Dynamite on the cruise, that was a cool setup.
Right.
Something very different. Yeah, I mean, I think Jones Beach, it's an amphitheater in New York. It's a well-known amphitheater. That'd be kind of cool with the, I don't know if it's a Hudson River. I don't know if it's the Hudson or the Atlantic Ocean. Something is basically in the background. That'd be a cool little setup for sure. But yeah, yeah, there's a lot of, I think it'd be cool if AEW did like a kind of a spring break tour.
Mm-hmm.
Did like a month of TV at different beaches. Miami, Panama City, Myrtle Beach, or Hilton Head, Virginia Beach, or somewhere along the Gulf Coast, whether it's Texas or Mississippi or Florida, Louisiana. I mean, that would be cool. California. I mean, that'd be a really cool thing to get your spring break crowd and create a cool, unique atmosphere and just do that. But
right. See, I think like WCW used to do Sturgis, and I don't know if AEW that's their audience, but
no, it's not.
But I do think something along like some of these like concert festivals, things like Lollapalooza in Chicago, or what's the one in California that I can't remember what it's called. All the pop stars go there. Coachella, is that
Coachella,
what it's called?
That's it. Yep,
Coachella, yeah. Or even South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. You can like Brody King.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're right.
I want to say NXT, maybe SmackDown had an event at a Lollapalooza, and I swear they did something like that. I'm about to look it up, but I thought I saw something where SmackDown or NXT did a live show from Lollapalooza. You can kind of continue that, but
yeah, well, like you think of how many wrestlers that AEW has that are also musicians: Swerve, Brody King, Chris Jericho, etc., etc. I think that's the audience. Like you think of like that scene, especially like Lollapalooza, or I wish it was still around, but like Vans Warped Tour, those type of things. Those, I think that's your audience. Like the wrestling fans are also the fans of these type of conventions, and I think it would be cool if AEW tried to enamor themselves within the festival crowd. You can, you don't have to, own part of the soundstage or whatnot, but like, those festivals are, big plots of land. You can put a ring up, and I think it would be fun. I've seen people actually say like the Mall of America in Minneapolis would be a cool setup. MJF wants to go to MSG, which is never going to happen. WWE owns Madison Square Garden. Um, but like I think a lot of these outdoor venues, I think would be really fun. The NASCAR track would be interesting. I wonder, uh, with AEW's somewhat alliance with 2311. I don't even know if that still exists, but if they would do something there, I don't know if it does because Bubba Wallace ran that WrestleMania scheme a couple weeks ago. So um, I, that would be an interesting thing. I think AEW is young enough in their the tenure of the company that any of these venues are risk worthy. I think some of them will work, some of them won't. I mean, they go to Charleston every year and they don't sell out Charleston ever. So it's worth a gamble. I wonder. I think it would be fun if they could. And look, you can hate the sport for what it is, but it is a cult favorite right now. It would be fun, I think, if they did like a WWE mashup with like Banana Ball, the Savannah Bananas, um, and like they do that their college tour. That would be kind of fun to throw a halftime show with a couple wrestling matches there or whatnot. And it doesn't have to be like an episode of Dynamite or whatnot, but you that would be a fun way to market your product, because that's the one thing they suck at doing, and it's been 6 years and they still suck at marketing the product. So
Didn't AEW do a couple live event matches at Daytona before the 500, or during the Super Bowl? Did they do some sort of? I swear, maybe it was the Super Bowl.
there was one event. There was one event. Was it at Daytona, or was it? I think it was Daytona because they had Britt Baker was there, I think. And the Outcasts or whatever their name are, the Outrunners or Run. I don't know what their names are. Turbo Floyd and Truth Magnum. I can't remember what event that was, but yeah, I mean, I'll pitch Charlotte, North Carolina again. You can show up at the Charlotte Motor Speedway complex. You have a drag strip, a dirt track, and an empty parking lot that you can set up a wrestling ring at. So just come back to Charlotte.
Listen, if they did the Charlotte Motor Speedway and just did that, was that little quarter mile where they do the summer shootout?
The Bandolero track, yeah.
Yeah, set up the ring in the middle and just have a bunch of temporary seats around it, and then sell tickets along the front stretch right there as your big backdrop. And yeah, that'd be a cool little atmosphere and cool little thing to do. I think WCW one time did a Saturday night show. Remember they used to do, I don't know if they still do it or not, but it was like Speed Street. The week of the Coke 600, they had like a whole events thing happening at Uptown Charlotte. I think it was called Speed Street.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Speed Week or something like that. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah. And WCW did a Saturday night show the night before the Coke 600 at Speed Street in Uptown Charlotte, and it poured the entire show. They still had wrestling matches. It was kind of weird but cool.
Well, now let me throw in a venue, and it's not really a venue, but like kind of. What if they did it in the Battery in Atlanta?
That would be cool. I don't know how that would work. You and I have both been to the Battery. There's a lot of room for walking. I don't know if you can set up a ring in the middle and make it look good, unless you did it kind of in between where the Omni Hotel and the ballpark kind of meet in that little open area where there's like a little bit of a grass type area. You could do it there. They do have the Coca-Cola Roxy kind of across the street from Truist Park, so I don't remember how many. It's probably like a House of Blues type of area. So not very many seats. Might be a little bit hard of a setup to do, but that would be cool. Don't get me wrong, that would be cool. especially with a bunch of teams now doing basically little mini cities
Right.
amongst their stadiums and arenas. You can definitely find something like that to host some matches. Yeah, that's an interesting one. That's an interesting idea. And I mean, there's a lot of like little walkways you can kind
Right.
of, you know what, Mall of America. Let's go back there.
All of America. Hey, that's where Ricky Starks found out he was leaving AEW. So, uh,
That's one way.
what they got to do is just do a show on Bourbon Street during Mardi Gras, and
Well,
we'll see
you
how that turns
could.
out.
There'd be a lot of drunk people. That might be a hard one to book.
Yeah.
Maybe kind of easy because you get a bunch of drunk people there, but
Right.
very unpredictable.
Point being is AEW has shown that they can be creative with some of these venues. I love like the concert halls that they go to and like the theaters and all of that, like the vibe on TV. They're all great. So AEW, continue doing that. Hire me and Cody to help promote your show because y'all suck at doing it. Anyways, all right, last piece on our AEW talk, and then we have one final segment. You asked me if we can talk about a question a little bit ago off the record, but real quick, I want to go through. We mentioned it several times already. Supercard of Honor. Their show is tomorrow. I'm gonna just give you the match, and you're gonna tell me who you think wins it. Here we go. ROH was tonight, so all of these matches should be up to date. Did Tony Khan add any more? There were 8 the last time I checked. Now there's 9. All right, here we go. Here we go. Match number 1, Women's World Championship match. Athena puts her title on the line against Maya World, Trish Adora, Yuka Sakazaki, Billy Starks, and Zeta Steele. So 6-woman match, 5 additional women. Who wins it?
Billy Starks.
I said I think Athena might lose it earlier. I'm going Billy Starks as well. I think she graduated college this weekend, so this is her prize. All right, ROH Women's Pure Championship match. Deonna Purrazzo fights Diamante.
Deonna Purrazzo.
I'll follow in that step. Deonna wins it. Pure Wrestling Rules match, no title on the line. Josh Woods fights Nigel McGuinness.
I'm going to go Nigel.
Yeah, in the past, Nigel's lost all of his matches that he's wrestled in ROH, but I feel like this one, since there's no title on the line, he'll probably win it. Give me Nigel as well. ROH World Championship match. Bandito puts the title on the line against Blake Christian.
I'm going to stick with Bandito.
I'm going to swap with you. I feel Swerve is going to play a part in this. I don't know if this is the right decision, but I think it's the decision they're going to make. Blake Christian wins the ROH World Championship. ROH Women's World Television Championship is on the line as Red Velvet fights Viva Van.
Gonna go with... I'm gonna go with Red Velvet.
I think Red Velvet retains as well. Now the ROH Men's World Television titles on the line. Champion AR Fox, didn't know he had a belt, fights Leo Rush.
I think Leo. I think that crazy gimmick gets him over.
Yeah, I think Leo Rush. Now, Leo Rush showed up as regular Leo Rush a couple weeks ago so I don't know what gimmick he's running, but I think Leo Rush, maybe he swaps in between. Maybe that's his gimmick. He's a crazy guy. I think Leo Rush can beat AR Fox. ROH World 6-man championship match. Shane Taylor Promotions, which is Shane Taylor, Carly Bravo, and Captain Sean Dean. put the titles on the line against the Rascals, Desmond Xavier, Myron Reed, and Zach Wentz.
Go the Rascals.
It's a good pick. I'm picking Shane Taylor Promotions to retain the titles. AEW National Championship is on the line as Mark Davis fights. I'm going to butcher this name. Exelhua.
Yeah, Mark Davis.
Mark Davis wins.
I don't even care who. You could have told me Rhino. You could have told me anybody. Mark Davis.
Mark Davis fights Roman Reigns. No, I'm just kidding. Mark Davis. All right, and the match, I think they add it tonight. The ROH Pure Championship is on the line. Lee Moriarty against Ace Austin.
It's going to be a good match.
Oh, it is.
That's going to be a really good match. I'm going to go Lee Moriarty. That's going to be a great match.
That's going to be a fantastic match. Lee Moriarty, he's so good at these pure style matches, the pure rules. I think he retains as well. Last year, my match of the night or match of the year came from this show, Takeshita versus Bandito. We might get a bunch of really good matches out of this card as well. 9 matches. It's probably going to go 6 hours. Get ready to watch ROH Super Card of Honor. Tomorrow night, I think it starts at 8 o'clock. Let me double check. 8 o'clock, I believe, is the start time. Now, Tony Khan hasn't mentioned any pre-show matches, so he might add 17 pre-show matches. We'll see tomorrow morning. All right, let's talk about what you posted in this chat real quick as we exit out tonight. And now I simplified what I think the post you sent to me said, and tell me if I'm wrong. I think it was asking the question, has AEW created more memorable moments than WCW? Is that basically the gist of what was?
Pretty much. I think the word was iconic. If you want to put iconic as a little bit more of an enticing word, you can, but that's pretty much the synopsis of it.
So let's talk it out. What do you think? Is AEW at that level? No.
And I mean that in the most nearest and dearest way. WCW was my first company I fell in love with, and AEW made me re-fall back in love with wrestling, and AEW's had some great moments. I mean, if you want to count the first All In, you can. If you want to count the first Double or Nothing, you can. Moxley debuting at the first Double or Nothing in the Jericho Omega match. AEW coming back on Turner Network programming. Sting coming back and retiring in AEW.
We were there live.
Yes, we were. Still my favorite event of all time. I don't think anything will really top that. CM Punk coming back to wrestling after an 8-year hiatus. Or 7-year hiatus. All Out 2021, featuring Punk's first wrestling match in 7 years. Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole debuting. Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson at Grand Slam 2021. There is a lot. But as far as WCW goes, and if you want to count just the pure 3 letters WCW from 1988 to 2001, I think it's had more iconic moments.
Right.
You know, Flair versus Sting at Clash of the Champions, Great American Bash 1990, Ron Simmons becoming the very first black world champion in pro wrestling history. Obviously, Hulk Hogan joining WCW, Macho Man Randy Savage joining WCW, Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair, Bash at the Beach 94. The first Nitro where Lex Luger debuts, and it really kicked off the Monday Night Wars. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash.
Right.
Scott Hall debuting on Nitro, and then you get the Hulk Hogan heel turn and the NWO starting, and then you get Lex Luger winning the world title on Nitro, and something that nobody saw coming, and then the Sting storyline preluding Starrcade '97. Goldberg's rise, and then Goldberg winning the world title on Nitro. Dennis Rodman and Karl Malone facing off in a ring at Bash of the Beach '97 with Hogan and DDP in the tag team matches. The World War III concept, 3 rings, 60-man battle royal, War Games. Jay Leno in a wrestling ring. I don't count that really as. I mean, it was iconic. Don't get me wrong. Just I don't know if it was the greatest moment of the world, but Jay Leno in a wrestling ring.
The Shockmaster. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I guess it's iconic, just not the greatest way possible. Trying to think of some of the other really big moments. The Four Horsemen reuniting in the fall of 1998.
Eric Bischoff threatening to fight Vince McMahon. That was
Eric
iconic.
Bischoff threatening to fight Vince McMahon. Yep, and then that culminated at Slamboree '98 in Worcester, Massachusetts, and Eric Bischoff won by countout.
I'd still like to see that match, by the way.
Yeah, that would be fun. Medusa debuting on Nitro and throwing the WWF Women's Belt in the trash. Yeah, I mean, I know we went through a lot, but that's more than AEW.
Iconic, but maybe in the wrong sense. David Arquette winning the WCW Championship.
Yeah, the finger poke of doom.
Yeah.
Hogan versus Warrior, 1998, Halloween Havoc.
Right.
The world title changing hands 45,000 times in 2000.
The Don Callis family prelude of the NWO. Here's the thing: is it's hard to say yes because WCW has lasted for.
If you count just 88 to 01,
right.
What, 13 years?
Right. So they just have more history. They have and they were wrestling in an era where wrestling was probably more just iconic overall, because you even think of what was going on WWF, like there was so much like the actual battle that was going on there, like it was part of pop culture. Like AEW has had some pretty decent moments, but I don't know if you could go to some random person on the street and ask them for an iconic AEW moment. I'm almost certain you could probably find someone our age and ask them their favorite WCW moment, and they would have something. Because like I didn't grow up watching WCW, but I still know of a lot of these WCW moments that are like wrestling lore. So not yet.
I think AEW can trump WCW for historical moment. Like if you had to put the top WCW moment,
right?
I mean, I think the top WCW moment, my opinion, is I'm gonna go with Goldberg winning the world title on Nitro, July 6, 1998. Georgia Dome, 42,000 people there. That's to me WCW's most iconic moment. You put that up against AEW's iconic moment, and it's all in London 2023. 80,000 tickets. That trumps WCW's by the magnitude of it and the ticket sales and all that stuff.
Right.
But from a more memorable occasion, for now, it's the Goldberg win.
Right.
But come back in 6-7 years and we'll see if that even changes,
Absolutely. We'll see how it goes. And you think AEW might have AEW just existing might be the most consequential moment in modern wrestling history, because I don't know if pro wrestling would still exist if they never existed. I mean, WWE might have just gone full off the rails. Wrestling was bad. I don't think people realize how terrible wrestling was in 2019, 2018. It was.
It was getting pretty bad. I mean, if it really wasn't for New Japan Pro Wrestling,
yeah.
Oh boy. I mean, a little bit of NXT as well. NXT was still pretty good around that time too, just not on a grandiose scale because it was on the network and it was still running in full sail. And they were running some of the arena shows during WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series weekend, Rumble weekend. But besides that, without Black and Gold NXT and New Japan, 2018-19 were some pretty bleak years.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, like you said, if we're still doing episodes in 7 years, we'll bring this question back up and maybe we have a different answer.
I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon, so hopefully we're still around in 7 years.
With that being said, that's all we have to talk about tonight. I appreciate everybody who has tuned in and stayed in and has been engaged. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, comment, share this with all your wrestling friends. And with that being said, my friend, I'll send it back to you for the final words.
Just like you did a couple weeks ago when you gave your thoughts on your trip down to Charleston for Dynamite, I will be heading to Greensboro this Monday for Raw. I somehow was able to find $30 tickets, not in the very top of the arena either. We're sitting a couple rows up in the upper deck, but not to be top of the arena. Pretty decent seats, I would say. But I found $30 tickets 3 weeks ago. Don't know how I did it. Haven't seen them since. So
it was a miracle. God was watching over you.
Quite literally. That was a sign of, you know what, go ahead and go to the show. Because, you go on the website now and the cheapest ticket's $60. So
God was saying, this is the last chance you're going to be able to see anything for several months. So
it's a very good point. He was like, go ahead. So next Thursday, I'll give my recap to how I thought Raw was in person. It'll be my first WWE show since 2023 and my first Raw since 2022. So it'll be interesting to see how the Netflix era is and how it all looks. Tribal Chief will be there. Very happy to see him. I'll give my thoughts and rundown on that next Thursday. And until then, I hope you all have a happy Thursday night, Friday morning, whatever time zone you're in, and have a great weekend. Indulge in a bunch of sauce, the best, sweetest, most sauciest of sauces. With that being said, hope you all stay saucy, friends.
ROH Supercard of Honor tomorrow. Tune in. ROH, watch ROH or myaew.com. Go ahead, watch it. We'll see y'all next week. Have a good one.
This is wrestling without the filter. This is Beyond the Junkyard.